There is a moment in life that many people never see coming, a moment so powerful and so unexpected that it changes the way you understand everything that has been happening around you, and that moment is when God finally exposes the thing that has been secretly blocking your path, the thing that has been quietly standing between you and the life you were meant to live. Because the truth is, sometimes the greatest battles in our lives are not the ones we can see but the ones hidden behind smiles. Behind opportunities that suddenly collapse, behind relationships that slowly drain our peace, and for a long time you may have wondered why certain doors kept closing even though you prayed, even though you tried, even though you kept moving forward with faith. And you may have asked yourself again and again why things felt harder than they should be, why progress always seemed to slow down right when you were about to reach something good, why people you trusted suddenly changed, why plans that looked perfect somehow fell apart at the last moment. But what you did not realize in those moments is that sometimes God allows confusion before revelation, because the truth that is about to be revealed is something your heart needed to grow strong enough to handle, and when that moment arrives you will suddenly see clearly what was hidden in the shadows for so long. You will understand that there was something working quietly behind the scenes trying to delay your progress, trying to discourage your faith, trying to keep you trapped in doubt and exhaustion. But God has a way of bringing hidden things into the light at exactly the right time, not too early and not too late, because if you had seen the truth too soon you might have reacted emotionally instead of wisely, and if it had stayed hidden too long it could have continued draining your energy and distracting you from your real purpose. So God waits until the moment when exposure will not only reveal the problem but also protect your future, and when that moment finally comes it often feels shocking because suddenly things that never made sense before begin to connect like pieces of a puzzle falling into place. Conversations you once ignored start replaying in your mind with new meaning, actions that seemed small suddenly reveal their deeper intention. And people who once looked supportive begin to show signs that they were never truly aligned with your journey, and this is the moment when many people feel both relief and disbelief at the same time. Relief because the confusion is finally over, and disbelief because the truth was hiding so close to them all along. But this is exactly how divine exposure works, because God does not always remove obstacles instantly. Sometimes He reveals them slowly so that when the truth appears you will recognize it clearly and never allow it to deceive you again. And the most powerful part about this moment is that it is not just about discovering what was blocking you but about understanding how protected you actually were during the entire process, because there were moments when you almost trusted the wrong direction completely, moments when you almost followed advice that would have taken you far away from your destiny, moments when you almost invested your energy into situations that were quietly designed to keep you stuck, but something always felt slightly off. Something always slowed you down just enough to stop you from going too far in the wrong direction, and that invisible protection was God working behind the scenes, even when you thought your progress was being delayed, even when you believed that your prayers were not being answered, because what looked like delay was often divine interference preventing something worse from happening. And many people only understand this after the exposure takes place. After the truth is revealed and they look back at their past struggles with a completely different perspective, realizing that every closed door, every unexpected change, every uncomfortable situation was actually guiding them away from a hidden trap and closer to the path that truly belonged to them. and when God exposes what was secretly blocking you, the first thing that changes is your awareness, because suddenly you stop blaming yourself for things that were never your fault. You stop questioning your worth because you understand that the resistance you felt was not a reflection of your ability but a result of something working against your progress. And this realization can feel incredibly freeing because it removes the weight of self-doubt that many people carry for years, the feeling that maybe they were not good enough, maybe they were not trying hard enough, maybe they were missing something that everyone else seemed to understand. But the truth is, sometimes the reason things felt so difficult is because there were forces around you that were never meant to stay in your life permanently, and God was slowly preparing the moment when their influence would be revealed and removed completely. And that moment is powerful because once the hidden blockage is exposed, it loses its power over you, because darkness can only survive when it remains unseen, but the moment light touches it, the illusion disappears and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. And this is why many people experience a sudden shift in their lives right after something hidden is revealed, because the energy that was once being drained by confusion and hidden resistance suddenly becomes available again for growth, for clarity, for new opportunities that were waiting patiently on the other side of that obstacle. And you begin to notice that things start moving differently. Conversations feel more honest, decisions become easier, your intuition grows stronger because now you recognize the patterns that once kept you stuck. And instead of feeling lost, you begin to feel guided in a way that is both peaceful and powerful, as if something inside you finally understands where to go next without hesitation. And this is not coincidence but the natural result of divine exposure, because once God reveals what was blocking you, He also begins opening the path that was always meant for you to walk. And sometimes that path leads you away from certain people, certain environments, certain habits that quietly limited your growth for far too long. And while letting go may feel uncomfortable at first, it quickly becomes clear that what you are leaving behind was never meant to stay forever. It was only part of the process that helped you learn how to recognize truth from illusion, loyalty from convenience, and purpose from distraction. And as you move forward with this new clarity, you begin to understand that God was not just protecting you from a single obstacle but shaping you into someone who can recognize hidden barriers before they have the chance to grow too strong again, because the wisdom gained through exposure becomes a shield that protects your future decisions. And the more you reflect on the journey, the more you realize that even the painful moments had meaning, because they pushed you to develop patience, discernment, and faith at a level you might never have reached otherwise. And now, as the truth stands clearly in front of you, the most important thing is not to dwell on what was blocking you but to focus on the freedom that comes after its exposure. Because the same God who revealed the obstacle is also preparing the next chapter of your life, a chapter where progress flows more naturally, where the people around you are aligned with your growth instead of quietly resisting it, where your energy is no longer wasted on confusion but invested in purpose. And the moment God exposes what was secretly blocking you becomes the turning point that separates the season of hidden struggle from the season of visible breakthrough. A moment that reminds you that even when life felt uncertain, there was always a higher wisdom guiding the story toward a revelation that would change everything. The moment after God exposes what was secretly blocking you is often the moment when your entire perspective begins to shift in a way you never expected. Because once the truth has been revealed, you start to realize that the struggle you thought was random actually had a deeper pattern hidden within it. And suddenly you begin remembering all the times when something felt slightly wrong but you could not fully explain it, those quiet moments when your spirit felt uneasy even though everything on the surface looked normal, the conversations that left you feeling drained without understanding why, the opportunities that seemed perfect but somehow never worked out no matter how much effort you gave, and for a long time you might have blamed yourself for those outcomes, thinking that maybe you were not prepared enough or maybe you made the wrong decisions along the way. But when God exposes what was secretly standing in your way, a new understanding begins to rise inside you, and you realize that what you were facing was never simply about effort or timing but about something that needed to be revealed before your life could move forward the way it was meant to. Because there are moments when God allows certain things to stay hidden temporarily, not because He is ignoring your prayers but because the right moment for truth to appear has not yet arrived, and when that moment finally comes, it is often powerful enough to change everything in an instant, because the hidden thing that once influenced your journey loses its ability to control the direction of your life the moment it is exposed. And that exposure creates a kind of spiritual clarity that many people describe as a weight being lifted from their heart, as if something that was silently draining their strength has finally been removed from the atmosphere around them, and with that clarity comes a new awareness of how carefully God has been guiding your path even during the seasons when you felt the most uncertain. Because if you look back closely you will begin to notice that there were small signs along the way that tried to warn you, small moments when the truth almost revealed itself but you were not yet ready to fully see it. And sometimes God allows those hints to appear gradually so that when the full truth is finally revealed your heart will recognize it immediately without confusion, and this is why many people say that when God exposes something hidden it does not feel like a random discovery but more like a sudden confirmation of something their spirit already sensed deep inside, because the soul often recognizes truth long before the mind fully understands it, and once that confirmation arrives it creates a powerful shift in how you see the people and situations around you. Because things that once seemed trustworthy may suddenly appear very different under the light of truth, and while that realization can be uncomfortable at first, it is also incredibly freeing because it removes the illusion that kept you investing your time and energy in something that was never aligned with your destiny, and the moment that illusion disappears you begin to feel a sense of strength returning to your spirit. The kind of strength that comes from finally understanding that the obstacles you faced were not a sign that you were weak but a sign that something hidden needed to be revealed before your breakthrough could begin, and this is where many people experience the second part of divine exposure, which is the realization that God was not only protecting you from the blockage but also preparing you for the moment when the truth would change your direction completely. Because exposure does not just reveal what was wrong, it also prepares the ground for what is about to go right. And that preparation often happens quietly through the lessons you learned during the struggle, lessons about patience, about discernment, about trusting your inner guidance even when others question it. And those lessons become incredibly valuable once the truth comes to light because they help you move forward with a level of wisdom that would have been impossible to develop without those earlier experiences. And as this awareness grows you may begin to notice something remarkable happening in your life, which is that opportunities start appearing that feel different from the ones you faced before. They feel lighter, more natural, more aligned with who you truly are rather than who you felt pressured to become, and this shift happens because once the hidden blockage is removed the path ahead becomes clearer, and the energy that was once being used to fight against invisible resistance now becomes available to build something meaningful and lasting. And that is why many people describe the period after divine exposure as the beginning of a completely new chapter in their life, a chapter where they finally start seeing results that once felt impossible, where progress begins to flow in ways that feel both surprising and deeply peaceful at the same time, because when you are walking in a direction that is no longer secretly blocked, every step forward carries a sense of confirmation that you are finally moving in alignment with the purpose that was always meant for you. And this alignment creates a kind of quiet confidence inside you, a confidence that does not need constant reassurance from others because it is rooted in the understanding that God has already shown you the truth you needed to see, and once that truth becomes part of your awareness, it changes the way you approach every decision from that point forward, because you begin to trust your discernment more deeply. You begin to recognize the difference between situations that bring peace and those that quietly disturb your spirit. And this ability to recognize the difference becomes one of the greatest gifts that comes from the moment God exposes what was secretly blocking you, because it prevents you from walking into the same hidden traps again in the future, and instead of feeling confused about which direction to take, you begin to move through life with a sense of spiritual awareness that guides your choices in ways that feel both wise and natural. And this awareness also brings a new understanding of why certain relationships in your life changed the moment the truth was revealed, because exposure often creates distance between you and the people or environments that were connected to the blockage, and while that distance may feel painful at first, it quickly becomes clear that it is also necessary for your growth, because sometimes the only way to fully step into the life God prepared for you is to release the things that were quietly limiting your ability to reach it. And when you look at that process through the lens of faith, you begin to see that what once felt like loss was actually a form of protection, guiding you toward a future that is far more aligned with your true purpose. And this realization creates a deep sense of gratitude inside your heart, because you begin to understand that even during the seasons when you felt confused or delayed, God was still actively shaping the path ahead of you, arranging the moment when the hidden truth would be revealed in a way that would not only remove the obstacle but also strengthen your faith for everything that lies ahead. And as that faith grows stronger, you start noticing how differently you respond to challenges compared to the past, because now you know that not every delay is a defeat and not every closed door is a rejection. Sometimes they are simply part of the process that leads to a greater revelation, a revelation that shows you exactly what needed to change before the next chapter of your life could begin. And the moment you fully accept that truth, you stop seeing your past struggles as wasted time and start seeing them as preparation for a breakthrough that required a deeper level of awareness than you had before. And that awareness becomes the foundation of a new confidence that carries you forward into opportunities that once seemed unreachable, because the same God who exposed what was secretly blocking you is also guiding you toward the path where your gifts, your faith, and your purpose can finally grow without hidden resistance holding them back. And that is why the moment of exposure is never the end of the story, but the beginning of a transformation that continues unfolding long after the truth is revealed, shaping your journey in ways that gradually prove that everything you experienced was leading you toward a life that is clearer, stronger, and far more aligned with the destiny that was waiting for you all along. But there is another powerful truth that many people only begin to understand after some time has passed since God exposed what was secretly blocking them, and
That truth is that exposure is not only about revealing what was wrong in the past but about preparing your spirit for the level of growth that is about to come into your life next, because once the hidden obstacle is removed you enter a new season where clarity begins replacing confusion and direction begins replacing hesitation. And at first this new season can feel unfamiliar because you spent so much time navigating uncertainty that moving forward with confidence almost feels strange, yet slowly you begin to notice that the things which once drained your energy no longer have the same influence over your life. The people who once created silent tension around you begin to fade from your daily path, and the situations that once caused stress begin to lose their importance as your focus shifts toward opportunities that actually support your growth instead of resisting it. And this shift does not happen by accident but by design, because when God exposes a hidden blockage He also creates the conditions necessary for your progress to begin flowing in a way that reflects the purpose He placed inside you from the very beginning. And as you move deeper into this new season you may find yourself reflecting on the journey that led to this moment, remembering the nights when you prayed for answers that never seemed to arrive, the days when you questioned whether your efforts were truly leading anywhere, the moments when disappointment felt heavier than hope, and when you look back now you realize that even though those experiences were painful they were also shaping something strong inside you, something that could not have been built through comfort alone, because faith that grows during struggle becomes far more powerful than faith that has never been tested. And now that the truth has been revealed you can see how every challenge you faced was quietly preparing you to recognize the difference between what belongs in your life and what was only meant to pass through it temporarily. And this understanding becomes one of the greatest sources of wisdom you carry forward because it allows you to approach the future with a level of discernment that protects your peace in ways you did not fully understand before. And that peace becomes incredibly valuable as new opportunities begin appearing in your life, because not every opportunity will be meant for you even in this new season. And the clarity God has given you will help you recognize which doors lead toward your purpose and which ones only look appealing on the surface but do not truly align with the direction your life is meant to go. And this ability to see beyond appearances is one of the greatest gifts that comes from the moment God exposes what was secretly blocking you, because it allows you to make decisions based not only on what looks good in the moment but on what actually supports the long-term path God is guiding you toward. And as you begin making choices from that place of awareness you will notice that your life starts moving with a sense of harmony that once felt impossible, because instead of constantly fighting against hidden resistance you are now moving with the current of a path that was designed to support your growth. And this does not mean that challenges will completely disappear, because every meaningful journey includes moments that test your patience and resilience. But the difference now is that those challenges will no longer come from unseen forces working quietly against you, but from the natural process of growth that strengthens your character and expands your ability to handle greater responsibilities and blessings. And this is where many people begin to feel a deeper connection with their faith, because they realize that the same God who revealed the hidden obstacle is also walking with them through every step of the new journey that follows, guiding them through decisions, protecting them from distractions, and opening doors that align with the purpose they were always meant
to fulfill. And as this realization settles into your heart you may notice that the fear you once felt about the future begins to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence that comes from knowing that you are no longer walking blindly through life but moving with a level of spiritual awareness that keeps you connected to the guidance that has already proven itself trustworthy in the past. And that confidence allows you to take steps forward that once felt too risky or uncertain, because now you Understand that the greatest risk is not moving forward but remaining stuck in situations that were never meant to define your life permanently, and once that truth becomes part of your mindset, you begin approaching your goals with a renewed sense of determination because you know that the path ahead is no longer secretly blocked by the same forces that once slowed your progress. And this realization often leads to a period of rapid growth where the efforts you once made with little visible results suddenly begin producing outcomes that feel both surprising and deeply rewarding at the same time, because when obstacles are removed, the energy you invest into your purpose begins flowing directly toward progress instead of being absorbed by resistance that you could not previously see. And as this progress unfolds, you may also begin noticing that the people who enter your life during this new season carry a different kind of presence, a presence that feels supportive, encouraging, and aligned with the direction you are moving, because when God clears the path, He often brings new connections into your life that help strengthen the journey ahead rather than quietly limiting it. And those connections become reminders that the exposure of the past obstacle was not simply about removing something negative but about creating space for something far more positive to grow in its place. And as that growth continues, you begin to realize that the moment when God exposed what was secretly blocking you was actually one of the most important turning points of your entire life, because it marked the end of a chapter defined by hidden struggle and the beginning of a chapter defined by clarity, purpose, and forward movement. And the more you embrace this new chapter, the more you will see how every step you take from this moment onward carries the strength of everything you learned during the journey that brought you here. And that strength becomes the foundation upon which your future successes will be built, because it reminds you that no matter how confusing a season may feel in the moment, there is always a greater plan unfolding behind the scenes, a plan that eventually reveals the truth you needed to see and leads you toward the life that was waiting patiently for you once the hidden barrier was finally brought into the light.